And Australian Federal Police have charged a Chinese national with foreign interference, alleging she was trying to collect information on a Canberra-based Buddhist group for China's security agencies. Foreign Affairs reporter Stephen Jejets joins us now from Parliament House in Canberra. Steve, g'day. So what are the main allegations made by police this afternoon?
Look, Joe, the details are pretty sparse at the moment. We heard from Stephen Nutt, a senior AFP police officer, who laid out the bare bones of what's alleged here by the police. Essentially, police are saying since around 2022, they believe that this woman was engaging in foreign interference, covertly collecting information on a Buddhist group that's based in Canberra. Now, this group, the specific one, bears in some ways some loose comparisons, at least in terms of how it's regarded by the Chinese government, to Falun Gong. It's a group from a very different spiritual tradition, but is also one which is apparently known to harbour a certain level of suspicion, or at least opposition, towards the Chinese Communist Party. And it's a group that is apparently also banned in China. Now, the allegation from the police is that essentially this woman, acting on behalf of Chinese security agencies, was covertly monitoring this group in Canberra, using intermediaries and associates to gather information to send back to China in contravention of foreign interference laws. Let's take a listen to what Stephen Nutt, the AFP officer who's investigating this, had to say.
The AFP has alleged the woman, who is also an Australian permanent resident, was tasked by China's Public Security Bureau to covertly gather information about the Canberra branch of the Guan Yin Sita, a Buddhist association. The AFP, through the Counter Foreign Interference Task Force, launched Operation Autumn Shield in March 2025 after receiving information from ASIO. We allege the activity was to support intelligence objectives of the China's Public Security Bureau. This is the first time the AFP has charged a person with foreign interference that allegedly involves targeting members of the Australian community.
And so, Stephen, this woman has now appeared in court. What happened there?
Yeah, our colleague Jade Toomey was down at the court today, and she's provided a few details, a few things that are worth noting. One, during this court appearance, which apparently was a relatively brief one, police allege that this woman was receiving funds or money from Chinese financial institutions. They also said that she had a husband who they believed was still in China, and police say that they believe that this husband is a vice captain in a public security bureau in an unnamed Chinese province. So that seems to suggest that she has a direct connection back, at least through family, to Chinese intelligence services. The other thing worth noting just briefly is that she was allegedly involved, or allegedly used encrypted apps to communicate, presumably with superiors or associates within the Chinese intelligence service. And finally, Joe, just worth noting that bail was requested by the woman's lawyers, but was denied by the state. So for the moment, bail denied, and the woman remains detained.
So what's the significance of this arrest?
Look, we'll have to wait for more information to come through to gauge the nature of this, but it is worth noting a couple of things. The first is that police have said they believe that more arrests could well follow. So there are other people who may have been involved in this case, which may also face charges or arrest. The second thing to note is that although we've had 3 instances of prosecution under Australia's relatively new foreign interference laws, this is the first time, as we heard from Stephen Nutt there, that this has actually been, that we've actually seen a prosecution centred around a direct targeting of members of the Australian community. In previous cases, there was alleged political interference, and in the second case, apparently an attempt to allegedly use someone in Australia to provide information back to the Chinese intelligence services. But in this case, we have the direct members of the diaspora targeted, and that's something that the AFP wants to highlight and send a very clear message is utterly and totally unacceptable. Finally, Joe, I believe it's the first time we've seen a foreign national charged under these new foreign interference laws. Previously, we saw Australian nationals charged. Now we have a Chinese national charged as well. But as ever, this will have to wend its way through the courts, so we'll have to wait and see whether the AFP can secure a successful prosecution.